Happy Friday, guys. Real quick. So my son sent me a hilarious video yesterday, and he said, "Dad, watch this. It's hilarious." And he was right. I laughed out loud, and I right away shared it with all my friends. I think I sent it to John over at Catholic for Rednecks and a bunch of my friends over here in Florida. We all got a kick out of it. But it's funny, and I'll tell you why. If you haven't seen the video, I'll tell you why it's so funny. But it's also very telling, very informative of what we're dealing with on the left, or what the church is dealing with. And I think I'm going to make a few quick points that's very important to anybody who loves freedom, but especially Christians, and especially Catholic Christians. And I'll tell you why in a moment. But first, I just want to say, hey, we're winning the war. The tide is turning. More and more Americans are looking at the science, and they realize how ridiculous a statement is to say, this is my body, this is my choice. The science is clear. We don't even have to argue on religious grounds. Just argue on the science. It's not a liver, it's not a kidney, it is a human being. So people are waking up to this horror, and I believe one day Americans will look back at abortion the same way as Americans look back at slavery and say, how could our ancestors allow such an evil practice? How could they deny the science of their time? It was there for decades. That this is a baby. This isn't an organ, a part of the woman's body to choose whether she wants to have it removed, like her appendix. So the tide is turning. Oklahoma just passed a ban on abortion, waiting for the governor to sign, which I'm sure he'll sign. So we're winning politically. We're changing the minds of people. But now we got to hit them where it hurts. If you go woke, you go broke. For years, these companies have been using and convincing these useful idiots on the left that they don't care about profits, and by doing that, they're making more profit, that they care about all their woke issues. Pregnant men can get pregnant, rather. Little boys should be allowed to use girls' bathrooms. Men should be allowed to use little girls' bathrooms. This ridiculous woke theology, we need to shut it down. And whenever you can, don't do business with a woke company. And in real estate, I tell you all the time, go to realestateforlife.org. It is an unapologetically pro-life company. This company does not bow a knee to the woke crowd. Real Estate for Life is a pro-freedom, pro-life Christian organization, Catholic Christian organization. I believe we do have some Protestant Christians on staff, but they are staunchly pro-life. And we have the best. We have the most experienced professionals with the utmost integrity. So please, if you're buying or selling real estate or have any real estate needs, we got movers, we got, some of these blue states, they make it so hard to buy a house, you need a lawyer. We have real estate lawyers. We have pro-life realtors, and anything to do with moving or grooving, go to realestateforlife.org. But now getting to this Twitter twit. So Project Veritas, if you've never heard of it, you should check it out. It's probably the last best investigative journalist news organization on the planet. And what they normally do is they uncover the left. They uncovered the lies of the big tech medias, of CNN. And the way they do it is they just videotape them undercover, saying what they believe, saying what they're doing. That's it. They just show you the people themselves admitting to what we've been suspecting they do. So normally they'll send a hot chick in to hook up with a guy on a date, and they'll have a few drinks. And once the guy starts drinking, he starts bragging. And I guess they got little videos on their tie or something, little cameras, hidden cameras. I was a private investigator when I got out of the Navy, and they had these, back then, this is 35 years ago, they had these little cameras you could put on your tie. So I'm sure now it's even more high tech. But but it's hilarious. But what was so funny about this one was it was a flamboyant gay dude that worked for Twitter on a date with another dude. I don't know if the guy was really gay or he was acting like he was gay, but he worked for Project Veritas, and they started talking about Elon Musk. So the dude from Twitter's like, you know, we come here to change the planet. You know, we're here for ideology. We're not here to make a profit. And Elon Musk is going to change that. He's coming here to make a profit for Twitter. He says, but how can you take the guy serious? You know, he has Asperger's. He's special needs. And he goes on to make fun of Elon Musk's Asperger condition. You know, the left that wants tolerance for all their sinful behavior never gives tolerance for anything. So anyway, but getting back to the video, what was so hilarious is the guy actually shows an email he got from corporate Twitter on his phone to the guy. He's like, yeah, we got to be careful because this Project Veritas group is going around trying to expose us. So they're like, be careful, especially on dates, because they date people. And he's on a date with a Project Veritas guy and he don't even know it. And what's hilarious, he's like, yeah, you know, if we didn't meet organically, I'd be asking you all kinds of questions. I'd be suspicious of you. Good thing we met organically. So what a doofus. The oldest trick in the book. Women have been setting up men for thousands of years organically, just bumping into them. Oh, I mean, this is the oldest trick in the book. And by the way, women, guys do it too. You know, you work in a coffee shop, we might visit that coffee shop, even though it's 10 miles out of our way. But as far as like espionage, the military, you know, that's why for years when I was in the Navy, you weren't allowed to be gay because they were afraid the Russians would use that against you. They would send, you know, gay agents and, you know, officers, they would send beautiful Russian women agents. So it's the oldest trick in the book the guy fell for. But what's so scary, you know, not scary because we're going to beat them. We're on the verge of crushing this, the left in this country. But what's so telling is this dude is saying, oh, we're not here to make a profit. Hello, you're a business. This is why if I own a business, I would be real hesitant to hire a college-educated dude these days because these colleges, they're turning out anti-American, anti-capitalistic people, you know? And so, number one, let's set aside for a moment that this guy's virtual signaling. I don't care about the money. We don't care about the profit. We only care about saving the planet, I think is what he said. Oh, and he also said, yes, sometimes we have to use censorship if people don't say the correct thing. So he admitted to censorship, which we all know they censor. I mean, Candace Owens was censored for saying men couldn't get pregnant. Trump was banned because they didn't like his ideology and his thoughts. But so we knew that, but it was just, it's, you know, it's right there on video that they censor. But not to make a profit. So he's virtual signaling, oh, we care more about the planet. Well, put aside for a second. Capitalism has done more to save the planet than any system, by far has done more to save the environment, by far lifted people out of poverty, by far freed people from bondage and tyranny. So, number one, why would you want to be anti-capitalistic? Number two, you have a moral obligation. If you're trying to act like you're a moral, ethical guy, you have a moral obligation to the shareholders who invested in Twitter to make money. It's not all billionaires that are invested. A lot of people invest, like normal blue collar guys invest, you know, and they're taking their hard earned money. I mean, I don't think this kid ever worked a hard day in his life, so maybe he doesn't understand that, but they're taking their money they earned with their sweat and they're investing in your company, trusting that you're going to try and increase their money. And you're saying you don't care. We don't make a profit because we don't want to make a profit. It's about ideology. Elon, that's the first guy you need to fire. And then you need to go and fire every other he said 7,000 of them have this ideology. You need to fire them all. And but we're winning the war. You know, Elon's going to buy it. You know, there's rumors he's not going to buy it. He's backing out. But you know, he's a businessman. He's going to try and get the best price because he's buying Twitter based on how many subscribers. And we've known for years. I'm sure he's known it. But he's using it as a negotiation tool. That Twitter lies. They have so many robots. They have way more robots than subscribers. And his engineers are finding out that, for example, Joe Biden said he had 22 million followers, and the truth is he only has about 10 million. And like conservative guys that are on Twitter actually had more than Twitter was reporting. And it's kind of funny because I'm sure they tried to limit how many subscribers they could, how many followers they could attribute to Trump. But even with them fighting against Trump, he still had like 90 million followers compared to 10 million by Joe. It's kind of weird that Joe beat him by so many votes. It's kind of weird that Trump would have 20,000 people show up in the pouring rain to watch him at a rally, and Biden couldn't get more than like 5 or 6 people on a sunny day. But somehow Biden won. It's very weird to me, very suspicious to say the least. But anyway, before I get demonetized again, they just remonetized me recently. You know that story. But anyway, why is it so important? Number one, if you love freedom, you don't want censorship. Elon Musk is right when he tweeted out the bedrock of a free society, of a democracy, is free speech. The left always goes after free speech. They'll call it hate speech. They'll call it whatever they want to call it, but they'll ban it. They'll censor it like they do. But why is it so important for Christians, especially Catholic Christians? Well, Protestant Christians, you know, they're getting more and more liberal. I know I got a lot of conservative friends who still believe the Bible, but they don't have, you know, they've only been around 500 years. You know, they're like my friend Steve Ray said on my show, they're in the oldest Protestant denomination is still in diapers compared to the Catholic Church. The oldest government is still in diapers compared to the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church was here from day one. Jesus Christ established the Catholic Church in 33 AD. This is historical, and we don't change. Our first catechism, the Didache, said abortion was a mortal sin. Our catechism today in 2022 says abortion is a mortal sin. Twitter would like to ban that as hate speech. Pope Francis recently said the transgender theology is demonic in origin. It is a demonic, evil theory. That, I'm sure, would get him banned if he had a Twitter. I don't think he has a Twitter. Maybe someone has one for him, but that's not allowed on Twitter to say that. So, as Catholic Christians, we got to fight for freedom. We got to vote for freedom defending Republicans, because the Democrats are all about censorship. It's just, you know, people say don't get political. Well, you got to get political when it affects your church, when it affects your family, you know. And like I said, if you own a business, be careful hiring these college-educated kids, because I'm telling you, I encourage my kids to go to college because, you know, that certificate you get helps open some doors that won't open for me because I never got the certificate. But we made sure we taught them. We didn't depend on, you know, these secular schools to teach them. My wife and I homeschooled. Well, my wife homeschooled for 12 years. And, you know, we have 5 kids, so some of them were homeschooled longer, some of them less. We stopped homeschooling. We felt like God led us to stop homeschooling. Some people aren't called to homeschool at all, and some people are called to homeschool longer. You know, that's between you and God. But, you know, I can make a video about and again, I hate talking about myself, and I tell you, I am not bragging. It's by the grace of God that 2 9th grade dropouts could homeschool for 12 years and produce a lawyer that has graduated law school in the top 5%, has his own law firm. My 2 other kids just got their master's degree literally like 2 weeks ago. My daughter, she's raising a family. You know, she's called to be a stay-at-home mom and raise children for God. She has 1 child right now. Pray for him. He's a little sick with a little stomach bug. But, you know, so she goes to school, started going to college part-time before she got married. So she finished, got like her associates, and she'll probably do it part-time. But her main focus is her family. And funny, my oldest son, who's in sales, chose not to go to college, and he makes more money than all of us. Off my 4 other kids and me. He's just a sales killer. And he says the worst salesmen are these guys that come right out of college. He said we're getting a Florida storm here, so I'm going to end this quick. He said the worst salesmen are these kids that come out of college with, some of them have master's degree in marketing, and they're just so lazy and feel so entitled. And in sales, you got to show the numbers. There's no putting up a spreadsheet trying to prove what you're doing. You need to see the numbers. And it's funny because I just heard on the radio that Spain is passing a law that companies have to give women days off when they get their menstrual period. And it's funny because 2 things came to my mind. My daughter, all my kids have the same work ethic as my wife and I. We instill the work ethic. I haven't called in sick in 10 years. It's not that I've never been sick. I'm generally healthy, but you go to work because that's your job. That's old school. Today, these guys take off if they got a freaking little bellyache, And my daughter has the same work ethic, and she was in high school. She was working part-time at a gym, in a kiddies gym, like the nursery, and they promoted her to manager. And I remember one day she got called in the office, and she said one of the girls reported her because the girl called in sick because she said she had her period. She goes, "You can't call in sick because you got your period. Get to work or I'm writing you up." So she wrote the girl up, and the girl complained, So, but what's funny is in America, the left is trying to convince us that men get their period too. So I've met a lot of soft men these days, like half my age, and can't work 1/3 as hard as I work because they just were raised soft, And I can see these guys calling in because they got their period. So anyway, I just wanted to share these things with you. But again, we laugh about the left, how ridiculous they are. And we want to be happy warriors. We got the joy of the Lord, and don't let them steal it from you. I never lose sleep over these crazies on the left because I know we're going to win. The battle is the Lord's. If God be for us, who could be against us? Really, think about that. We're going to win, and we are winning. But we got to be vigilant. Faith without works is dead. We got to vote pro-freedom. We got to spend our money to free companies, pro-life companies like realestateforlife.org. And we got to spread the gospel, because if we change hearts, we change minds, we change votes. You're not going to vote for the party of death when the church that Jesus Christ established said it's a mortal sin, that it's murder, when science tells us it's murder. So God bless and stay Catholic.